What's good, YouTube fam? So I'm on my way to go pick up my son, and I'm with Ashton, and we having this conversation that I normally have with you guys on my own accord, talking about like racism and stuff. And I know it's a broad stroke of the brush to just like cover, but sometimes it has to be acknowledged, and because for me, it's an unresolved issue, and a lot of people like to kind of skip to the loo and pretty much be like, get over it. But again, examples given, which I've stated when it came to the Jewish community and stuff like that, is that how would the Jewish feel if they were told to get over what went on in Germany? And it's a legitimate thing to point out. And I really wanted to know because I had to revisit this conversation before. And it got into a heated debate. But there's validation in that. There's a legitimate point to be made. What if when it came to the Jewish people, that there was that condescending tone to say, well, I don't think that the Jewish people should have been compensated for what went on during that genocide period when they had to endure the Holocaust and stuff. And they were told to get over it, that there was going to be no compensation paid to them. And then not only that, it wasn't for America to foot the bill. That was the sole and full responsibility for Germany and Germany alone to have done that, because America didn't have a partake in the genocide that the Germans were responsible for. So, and then I'm sitting there, and then everybody gets mad when, well, I don't want to say everybody, but for those that feel some kind of way when it comes to pointing out where the influences lie, when it comes to where the Jewish people have a lot of stake in some of these financial areas here in America that other people don't. When it comes to corporations and networks and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's something that I frown upon, but it's an interesting conversation to dive into and have a better understanding, But I'm very curious as to want to know, why is there so much pushback when it comes to black people, African Americans, African descendants of slavery, to even suggest it? I mean, there was no pushback when some tribes were recognized and got compensated for what happened to some of their particular recognized groups and stuff, and they're fully compensated. They get millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, and if you're part of those tribes that were recognized by the government and the casinos are attached to it, then they're compensated. I don't hear no pushback from anybody saying, oh, well, that happened a long time ago. Our ancestors weren't responsible for the slaughtering of the Indians. So I don't think that they should get anything from the government. But yet and still, here you have people who were recognized through certain tribes and are compensated. But I don't hear no complaints against that. And I've always brought up the whole point of the Mashantucket Pequot Indians in Norwich with Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods. Like I said, and I use this in a joking manner, everybody went in as hyphen Americans. They went in as black, Latino, white, some Indian, whatever, and Asian. And as soon as they found out that they had whatever percentage of DNA that proved that they belonged to either tribe, they got check monthly, depending on how much money the casinos made as far as their revenue, and they had first dibs on if they want to work in the casino over everybody else that were considered outsiders, that didn't have, any percentage of that tribal blood in them. So, and I find it kind of funny and hypocritical that you have people that frown upon, the casinos coming to Connecticut, them having something to say about, the Indian tribes and stuff. But as soon as they found that they were somewhat attached through DNA, oh, the whole mood and attitude changed. Oh, I'm getting a check? Okay, then I identify as this. Funny how that works. But wait, what was you saying about the racial stuff?
I was just saying, I personally don't think that racism is ever going to disappear. It's always going to be a topic of discussion. It's always going to occur because there's always somebody who's going to be a Karen. That's just how I feel. And it's a shame. And I'm not saying that it's okay, because it's not. As a society, our whole mindset has to change as a group. If we don't change as a group, we're not going to make it.
Nope.
We're not.
But here's the other thing that I think the problem lies when it comes to, I guess, and I understand this, and this is the reason why I point out, who do you directly point the finger at? Because you see a lot of these people that are considered to be white nationalists. I guess that's an appropriate term that I've heard people really kind of like try to say, hey, these are particular groups that you actually have to look at and point the finger towards when it comes to talking about white supremacists and stuff like that. And they exist because as soon as something blows up, as far as getting national attention or local media coverage or whatever the case may be, that when you go to give them the benefit of the doubt because you don't want to immediately jump to conclusions, they say, hey, maybe this is a person that's dealing with mental health issues or whatever the case may be. That seems to me to be the how should I say, giving them a pass for their actions and their behaviors and stuff like that I don't agree with. But then again, you ain't saying everybody else got mental health issues. You're just saying, nope, you're just a criminal. That's it. Cut and dry. Boom. But then for anybody else, it's like, oh, they're suffering from mental health issues. I'm like, really? So you mean to tell me if you're a racist, you're suffering from mental health issues? I mean,
No.
and then you hear the arguments talking about, well, we're against critical race theory, because that's being brought up as the main topic of deflection, I believe. That you're teaching people to be racist against white people. I was saying there, how are you going to teach people to be racist against a group of people who invented racism? That were responsible for hate crimes, being against blacks, Jews, and homosexuals and stuff like that. And they made it very abundantly clear, this is what we're against. This is who we don't like. We hate you because of this. And then I said this before, they're like, racism disappeared. No, it didn't. It just evolved. It took on a new identity. It's like, if you know you're going to get in trouble for voicing your beliefs, saying you dislike this group and here's why, and you say, oh, I'm going to get backlash because of this. How do I make it to where I'm not exposed and I can continue on supporting my hatred, my rhetoric and stuff? Oh, you get into key positions where you're protected as law enforcement, the judicial system, some of these places that you have great influence, like Child Protective Services. I mean, and then it's like, you don't know what kind of people that you're dealing with. You don't know if you're dealing with a individual or you dealing with someone with an agenda or a motive to like mess you up and alter your life because they're in a position of power to be able to do just that and get away with it. And it's like, I'm saying it's the perfect cover for me. If I was a white racist individual and I see, okay, you know what? If I become a cop and the people who I could target without any consequence is the black community, then why not be a cop?
Yeah.
Because me being in the Klan, you know, wearing a robe and burning crosses on somebody's lawn or hanging them or lynching them and stuff like that, oh, I know that's going to gain attention, that's going to, you know, backfire on me. So how can I get away with killing somebody and having and also be protected while doing that? Hey,
you got the power behind the badge.
Yeah, because you got the power behind the badge, and when you got qualified immunity, you think you think that versus me being a civilian outside of that uniform, being able to get away with the same thing? No. So, you know, there's a lot to look at, and then again, it's like and it's hard though. It's hard though, because like
our whole system needs to be broken down and reconstructed.
The whole system, the laws, a lot of these laws need to like get put in the recycling bin, the trash.
Yeah.
Because there's too many unnecessary laws on the books.
You gotta look at our economical system. I mean, our whole infrastructure is just fractured.
There's like so much instability in the homes. Some of the system, like a lot of people cover this, and I'm in agreement with it. When you got like the welfare system, many people don't understand. It was designed and primarily created for when men, for the most part, went off to war. Now, if the men were considered to be the breadwinners in the home, and they left the household to go fight a war for whatever the case, then that means there was no, finances coming into the home, where the wife and the child was left behind while the men went off to go fight. So that's where the welfare system was created. Over time, that also had evolved. Now, the welfare system became a weapon against the men and profitable and beneficial towards the women. So that way, now, it's like, how do we remove the men out the home? And I agree with that. Because it's like, if you're a single mother, you get to have Section 8 housing, or whatever the case may be, where you pay to little to nothing for rent. If you're by yourself with children, SNAP benefits, cash assistance, assistance with daycare, all of that. But if the men was in the house, the women don't get none of that. So it's like the way the system is created goes against the man and benefits the woman.
You had the men, they were going off to war, and some would come home and some wouldn't, and some would come home with mental illness, and go out and drink.
Yep.
And then where's all the money going? To alcohol. It isn't going to the wife or the woman and the child.
Or for, in most cases, a lot of the soldiers came back strung out on opioids.
Yep.
And stuff. And they're also, and here's the thing that gets me with the fake ass patriotic Americans and stuff. And I'll say that, and I don't care what people say. If you were so much being patriotic, why are there vets that have to struggle with the VA?
Yeah.
To get the proper help for their PTSD. If they have a drug addiction, to get them off because they can't afford pain meds and shit, because they have to go through shit through the VA. Why are there so many homeless vets that are suicidal? And then when they engage with law enforcement, if you're so patriotic, why are they the ones also being, targeted and terminated because they're homeless by law enforcement? But we care so much about our vets.
Right.
That's being a hypocrite. And that's why I kind of laugh, because I'm like, y'all fake as fuck. Screaming and hooting and hollering and shit, but you don't believe in what the fuck you and the things that you shout.
We just need to take better care of our people.
But and here's the thing. We need to do that, and I agree. That's why sometimes I'll be like, why are we sending so much money to all these foreign countries and stuff like that when we got so much shit wrong going on within our infrastructure? Why are we busy trying to be worried about taking care of someone else when we don't got people taking care of us? But then we want to holler, we're broke, we don't have money. Well, we're so broke and we don't have no money. How is it that we got money to, throw at other countries and stuff like that, but we're broke? Help me understand that logic. And then here's another thing that I found out that I read up on. When they talk about food shortages and stuff like that, you know that they're trying to pay farmers $3,800 per acre to destroy their crops? And the penalties that go along with it if they don't? And I'm like, interesting. I'm like, very interesting. So like when you see that there's a shortage and like a lot of the produce due to the agricultural crisis and stuff like that, that's why. So like when you have people trying to control stuff and you're seeing the tactics and the means of how they're trying to go about it, it's very sickening. So again, and I say that to make a point, for those that are in influential positions to like suggest that farmers to destroy their crops and stuff, their agriculture, and get paid for it. Those are the same type of people that I be talking about that are responsible for the division here in this country. Those are the ones that promote racism and stuff like that. But you don't see them because they're behind the scenes and stuff. It's like they're the puppet masters to us puppets, the puppeteers. I have people like, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm not. Because it's when I talk about the time during segregation, these are the same people who gave white people white privilege to exclude black people from society with the whites only and stuff like that. And like I said before, it didn't make it so where the poor white people were rich. No, they were still poor as shit.
They're controlling the narrative.
But yeah, they're controlling the narrative. So it's like to prevent the unity from happening, they practiced a form of division. And segregation was the primary example of what division looked like. So it was like, okay, we're going to give value to your skin color. So that's where the whites only this, to go into public restrooms, restaurants, libraries, schools, transportation, neighborhoods, the banking system. And then people had to fight to do away with that. But remember, these were laws. So for you people who always are so gung-ho on laws and stuff, and you got to obey the law, remember, sometimes laws go against the moral code. A lot of times these laws are wrong. And again, it goes back to me saying, who has the power and influence to create these types of laws?
We do to an extent.
Yeah.
We're not the overall.
Yeah, we're not the overall.
Law.
But then again, they even manipulate in how they present the laws and stuff. Like when you go vote and they say they'll put this on the ballot, whatever, do you think whatever, you gotta be careful on what you're reading too. Because sometimes how they phrase it is manipulative. If you don't understand what you're reading.
Right.
So, but I don't know. But I'm almost to my destination to go pick up Kingston. This was an interesting talk. But until next time, until next video, please like, share, and subscribe. Please be safe. I know I went off on a tangent with this. I started off one point that I was going to address, and I ended up covering other points here in this discussion. But yeah. Peace.